In this world, individuals can gain extraordinary abilities by consuming the fruit of the skill tree. With a bit of luck, you might end up as a firebender or even a sword saint. However, for Light, his fate was quite different. He ended up as nothing more than a nutting master. On the day when skills were to be bestowed, Light and his childhood friend Lena were on their way to the church to undergo the ceremony. The two chatted excitedly about the skills they dreamed of acquiring. Light had always aspired to be an adventurer, so he would be thrilled with any skill that was combat-oriented. Lena, on the other hand, wasn't too concerned about what skill she might receive, as long as it meant she could stay by Light's side. Still, she was a bit nervous since no one really knows what kind of skill they'll get until they eat the fruit, but Light was sure they would both get amazing skills. However, we already know how that turned out for him. When he and Lena went into the church that day, the Holy Sister told them all about how the skill fruits work. You're granted a skill once you eat the fruit, and it will guarantee you a job in any related field of your choice, all without any crippling student loan debt. They were given the opportunity to choose any one of these fruits to gain their skill. But there was one unbreakable rule. You could only consume one skill fruit in your entire life. Attempting to eat a second fruit would result in poisoning. Many had lost their lives because they were dissatisfied with their skill and decided to take a second fruit. The Holy Sister emphasized this point, making it absolutely clear that eating more than one fruit carried a 100% fatality rate. Lena was taken aback by how dangerous the fruits could be, but the Holy Sister reassured her that as long as she refrained from eating a second fruit, there was no cause for concern. With the warnings out of the way, the Holy Sister told them to begin selecting their fruit. Lena stepped up first. She took a bite out of one of the fruits, and she immediately felt something happening to her body. There was a blinding light, and Lena's body suddenly became very hot. The Holy Sister realized this must be the legendary Sword Saint skill. It was incredibly rare, so she never thought she would get to see someone acquire it in person. But now that Lena was officially a Sword Saint, she was destined to one of the greatest adventurers in the country. Light was genuinely thrilled for Lena and congratulated her on obtaining such an incredible skill. But now it was his turn. He approached the altar and carefully selected a skill fruit for himself. While he didn't expect to gain something as extraordinary as the Sword Saint skill, he still hoped for a decent combat skill that would allow him to stand alongside Lena in battle. However, as he took a bite and felt the skill flow into his body, his heart sank. It turned out he was just a nutmaster. Light dreams of becoming an adventurer, but his hopes are crushed when the Holy Sister informs him he lacks the necessary talent and that consuming a second skill fruit guarantees death. Lena, his close friend with exceptional Sword Saint abilities, is taken to the royal capital for training, despite her promise to stay by his side. Devastated, Light reluctantly accepts his fate as a farmer, using his limited skills to grow and sell crops. 3 months later, Light sees a poster announcing Lena's promotion to S-rank adventurer, further deepening his sense of failure. Despite his determination to train and improve, he makes little progress and continues living a modest life, taking in an orphan girl named Isla. One evening, Isla accidentally cooks a stew using forbidden skill fruits. Fearing death, Light collapses, but soon realizes he remains unharmed. Shockingly, he discovers he has acquired new powers: immunity to nut-based poisons and a potent combat ability called Sword God, enhancing his attack strength and magic resistance. Isla also gains an appraisal skill, enabling her to read Light's abilities. This unexpected turn of events revives Light's hopes of pursuing his dream to become an adventurer, signaling a dramatic shift in his destiny. He runs outside with his sword and goes back into the forest to see if he really has a new sword skill. He raises his sword and with a single swing, he slashes the tree stump in half, as well as the bigger tree behind it. It's safe to say that, as of this moment, Light is overpowered. The following day, Light heads into town with a goal of visiting the guild and finally becoming an adventurer. He's brimming with excitement, as this has always been a dream of his. The first thing that catches his eye is the notice board filled with bounty quests. If they can successfully complete one, they'll have enough money to buy better equipment and delicious food. However, earning money isn't the only reason Light came here today. He's determined to test just how effective his Sword God skill will be in combat, If things go well, he might finally achieve his goal of becoming an official adventurer. He tells Isla to sit on a bench and wait for him while he gets a quest at the front desk. While he's gone, Isla takes the opportunity to use her appraisal skill on all the people in the guild. She's amazed by all the different types of skills that exist, but she's also shocked by how useless some of them are. Like this guy who has a self-damaging skill. At that moment, Isla hears a commotion coming from the front desk. When she looks over, she sees Light caught up in a heated argument with one of the adventurers in the guild. The man recognizes Light as the guy who's always selling nuts in the market and mocks him, declaring that someone like him doesn't belong in the guild. Light, however, pays him no attention and simply turns to Isla, saying they can leave now. The guy is offended that Light would dare to ignore him, so his completely normal reaction is to attack Light with his sword. Light's sword god skill also improves his reflexes, so he is easily able to block the attack. The guy had no idea Light could do that, so he fully intended to catch a murder charge today. The guy's friends see that Light is capable of defending himself, so they convince him to just walk away because this isn't a fight he can win. Jean and his friends leave the guild to take on their first mission, followed shortly by Light and Isla, who have received their own quest. The two head to the rocky plains, with Light filled with excitement about encountering a monster for the first time in real life. Despite the danger, he reassures Isla to stay close to him for safety. They soon spot a slime monster, and Light cautiously approaches it but is quickly detected. Changing tactics, he launches a frontal attack, using his newfound strength to slice the monster and inadvertently crack the ground beneath it. Isla congratulates him on his success as they prepare to gather the slime parts to exchange them for money. Although Isla feels guilty about dissecting the monster, Light motivates her by mentioning they can earn enough for pizza. Suddenly, they hear shouting and rush over to find Jean's party being attacked by a massive ogre. The group had planned an easy mission but never expected this dangerous foe. The ogre's attack forces them to dodge frantically, making it clear they have no chance of victory. Jean and his friends flee towards Light, using him as bait to escape. Light is left to fight the ogre alone, an opportunity he uses to test his abilities. Despite Isla's warning about the lack of defense in his sword god skill, Light remains resolute. Determined to become the world's greatest adventurer, he battles the ogre, ultimately defeating it by cutting it in half. Back at the guild, Light presents the ogre horn to prove his victory. Jean's friends support his claim, convincing the receptionist to reward him. Shortly after, a commotion arises as an S-rank party, including Lena, returns. Light is shocked when Lena pretends not to recognize him after 3 months apart. Although heartbroken, Light joins Isla for pizza, trying to lift his spirits. Lena unexpectedly approaches Light during their meal but warns him to stay quiet so Grouse doesn't notice them. She meets Isla for the first time and mistakes her for Light's daughter. Despite their joyful reunion, Lena shares her discontent with the sacred party, describing their destructive tactics and disregard for innocent lives during missions. Light invites Lena to join him and Isla, but Lena declines, bound by obligations to Sacred. Back at the lounge, Grouse dismisses complaints about collateral damage caused by his team, revealing his disdain for ordinary people. Furious, Light confronts Grouse, demanding Lena's release from the toxic party, but Grouse has him escorted out by security. Despite warnings about angering Grouse and the Holy Sister, Light remains determined. Lena, reflecting on Light's words, bravely announces her intention to leave Sacred. Grouse, outraged, threatens her life, forcing her to submit. As the Sacred Party prepares to leave town, Light confronts them, declaring he's there to take Lena back. Light challenges Grouse to a duel for Lena's freedom. Although Grouse initially refuses, he accepts after being taunted. The condition is set. If Light loses, he will be banned from the guild forever. Despite Lena's pleas, Light accepts the challenge, ready to fight for his promise and Lena's freedom. In an intense duel, Light fears he has no chance of defeating Grouse, who possesses the Godspeed skill, allowing him to close gaps and strike almost instantly. Despite Isla's warning about the danger of this ability, Light decides to fight and announces his skills as Nutmaster and Sword God, though Grouse dismisses the claim as impossible. During the battle, Grouse repeatedly attacks, forcing Light into a defensive stance. Eventually, Grouse shatters Light's sword, seemingly deciding the fight. He offers to spare Light if Lena swears eternal loyalty, but she refuses and trusts Light to find a way to win. Without a weapon, Light grabs a broomstick from a spectator, surprising Grouse. Relying on his reflexes and instincts, Light successfully counters Grouse, striking him so hard that he crashes into a wall and falls unconscious, making Light the winner. A week later, Light enjoys a peaceful life with Lena, who has joined his team. However, they face new challenges as Lena refuses to return to Sacred, making them targets and limiting their available quests to low-paying jobs. Despite the hardships, Lena finds joy in helping others, and Light shares her newfound happiness. Meanwhile, the Holy Sister plots to assign Light's team a dangerous S-rank mission, leaving it unclear whether she hopes for their survival.